Hi, this is a short video to help you understand how to do the experiment on determining the rate law for the hydrogen peroxide decomposition. It's not meant to be a substitute for the procedure, it's just meant so that when you read the procedure you'll better understand what's being asked for you. I know that the text is not reversed, so that's readable for you, but that's what the front of the experiment looks like in reverse. Now in this experiment, you have to prepare a series of mixtures that have different amounts of potassium iodide and hydrogen peroxide, and those amounts are described in this table, which, though you can't read, you'll probably recognize and be able to read in your procedure. The way that we do this experiment, the 3% hydrogen peroxide, which is one of the reactants, goes into a 15 ml tube, and the Ki and a varying amount of water goes into this balloon. Then both of them become connected together and they allow the reactants to mix, and we watch the reaction happen by holding it up like this and seeing gas get formed. Gas bubbles we'll see come up from the reactant mixture. All right. Okay, so the first thing we're going to set up for this trial is we're going to put the hydrogen peroxide in this container. And I'm going to do a trial where there's supposed to be 10 mils of hydrogen peroxide in that container, in the 15 ml tube. So I'm going to measure out 10 mLs of hydrogen peroxide using the markings on the side of this tube. Okay, and there's some droppers in your kit you can fine-tune the amounts with. I'm going to use this for a waste bottle, rather. That's my coffee. Okay, so now I have 10 mLs of hydrogen peroxide in here. The rest of the volume inside this container in all the trials, after you add the specified amount of hydrogen peroxide, has to be filled with water. Right? So I'm going to get some water. It doesn't have to be bottled water. I happen to have bottled water laying right here. And I'm going to use another dropper, a clean dropper. In order to fill this just about up to the top. Okay? And we can put that aside for a minute. The other solution that we have to prepare is we have to prepare Ki, potassium iodide, into this balloon. And in some of the trials you add 50 mLs of Ki. In some trials you add some water. I'm going to do a trial where we add 50 mLs of Ki. So that would be measured in your 100 ml graduated cylinder. And that also is an amount we should be careful about, so I'm going to take a clean dropper and I'm going to adjust that volume a little bit if I have to. Get a little bit taken out so that I have exactly 50 mLs as best as I can read those markings. Right. Then I have to transfer that into this balloon. We gave you a little funnel for that, so pour slowly and steadily. Now I've got my 50 mLs of Ki in here. Now, when I tie these together, I'm going to do it with the neck of the balloon twisted so the Ki doesn't come squirting out. And before I do that, I'd like to, if I can, get most or all of the air out of the balloon. So take it, and you can feel where the liquid is, right? And twist the balloon just about where the liquid level is. Okay? So now I can handle this balloon without the Ki come squirting out on me. Right? Now what I want to do is I want to get the mouth of the balloon twisted over the top, squeezed over the top of the 15 ml tube, and then I'm going to untwist it in order to mix them. All right? So let's try to see if we can do that without getting the hydrogen peroxide solution all over the place. All right? And I'm short one finger. You probably have one more finger that's useful than I do. I've got that closed over the top pretty well. Right? Now get ready to time, so you can take out your phone I use a stopwatch on my phone. Okay? And before we do this, I want you to picture what's going to happen. I'm going to untwist this balloon, and then I'm going to start to mix the two together by inverting it. And as they mix together, I'm going to be keeping my eye out for gas bubbles forming. That's oxygen forming as the reaction goes on. All right, so let's do that. All right, I'm going to hold this snug. All right, I'm going to invert it a few times. Like this. Okay, and I'm watching for bubbles forming. I don't see any yet. The reactants aren't really well mixed yet. But if you look closely, you can start to see bubbles forming in there. Right? So at this moment, you want to read the volume on the top of the tube here to know how much gas is in there. That's the air that was trapped in the balloon. And start your timer. Okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to watch the gas form. And, it's a good idea to tap the tube to get the bubbles to come up to the top. Watch the gas form until 10 mLs of oxygen have been filled in. So for instance, when I started to see the bubble just now, it was around the 1 ml mark. I read it as 1 ml. So I'm going to watch the markings on here as the gas gets evolved. And when I reach 11 mLs, that would be 10 mLs of gas formed. When I reach 11 mLs, I'm going to stop my timer. And that's the time that I'm going to record for that trial. You guys don't need to watch the bubbles form for the whole time. Okay. All right, well, I'm back now because the oxygen has just about reached the 11 milliliter mark. That's about 10 milliliters of oxygen that's been made. So I'm going to stop my timer on my phone and record that time for that trial.